Disney takes on another classic in their live action remake series. This time it's Pinocchio with Tom Hanks. Did they mess it up? Did they do an okay job? My review is coming next. Remember to like, share, and definitely subscribe to the channel. The love of a father is a powerful thing. And here we have Pinocchio. This is a classic movie. It's all about fatherhood. It's a morality play, basically, as we see Pinocchio going through the classic temptations that we kind of find from the original. But I want to kind of give a full disclosure here. Pinocchio was one of my favorite Disney movies growing up. In fact, it might be in my top 2 or 3 Disney animated films of all time. Beauty and the Beast is up there, but Pinocchio was right up there with that one for me. And one of the reasons is because I remember going to the theater when I was a kid to see this movie. My mom took me and my brother, and we went to the movies and sang the songs, and I remember seeing it in the theater, right? And you just can't forget that sort of experience. Such a beautiful movie. The animation is so amazing, all right? And so I love this movie, and I talk about this movie all the time in so many ways. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there because my review is a little biased because I love the original. The original is amazing. And so if you're going to remake this movie, you're going to really have to do something amazing to me, right? You're going to have to do something so phenomenal that I'm like, okay, that was worth remaking it. And just really quickly, I don't think they did. I don't think they did a good enough job remaking it, right? Either do it shot for shot and just do an homage, or if you're going to do something new and interesting, like, you really have to step up your game. So a couple problems with this so far, right? So basically, we have Tom Hanks as Geppetto. What an inspired choice. And he has moments where he's really good in it. But the problem is that a lot of the dialogue is just really sort of simple. It's not really very well thought out to me as a writer. I'm just looking at this going, man, give me the script. Like, I would have loved to have had the script and rewrote some of these scenes because it's just very basic, childlike, without, and almost more childish than kind of the childlike wonder that we kind of expect to see. Like, it was more made for kids, maybe, instead of like made for kids and yet complex enough that even adults are going to get it, right? They kind of spell everything out for everybody, and it's just not good. A lot. I mean, there's parts that are good. So Tom Hanks is amazing. I'm not faulting him, and he does a good job. Some of the voices, Joseph Gordon-Levitt does the voice of Jiminy Cricket, and it just doesn't come across natural, right? I mean, if you're going to compare it to the original, he's just kind of doing a mimic of the original. He's not even doing an original voice for himself. He's just kind of mimicking the old voice. The CGI is great. Like, it looks great. Of course, you know, Pinocchio is a CGI character, and they kind of work with that. And so I like that. I think they could have done a little bit better with it, but obviously it's Disney, and they have those resources, and they can just make it look amazing. And they overall did. They have some new characters, so they threw in some new characters. Sophia is kind of she's just kind of thrown in there. She's a seagull, and they just kind of use her to move the story along. Like, she doesn't really have a purpose. She doesn't really have a character. And she's not even plucky comic relief necessarily. It's just kind of strange the way they use her, just more for convenience, right? Oh, isn't it convenient? Sophia's here now. And so then we also have this other character, Fabiana, I think is how to say her name. And then she's a puppeteer that they have added in the whole Stromboli sort of sequence. And her puppet is Sabina. And I actually really liked this character, okay? So as much as I didn't think they did a great job with the remake, in fact, I think they kind of failed, and I'll go over the main reason towards the end here. But even though I think they failed overall, and it disappointed me, I really kind of liked her character. So she is kind of someone with a with a disability in a sense, but she's able to be creative with the puppet, and she speaks through the puppet. And it was really kind of interesting, actually. I really thought that was a very interesting dynamic of her character that they brought in. But Pinocchio goes through the normal morality issues, right? He's told by the blue fairy that he could become one day a real boy if he is brave, truthful, and unselfish, right? So he has to kind of go through these ordeals in order to become a real boy. She just lays it out there for him. And of course, he needs help knowing right from wrong, right? And he gets the conscience, which is Jiminy Cricket. It's the classic setup. And they go through it, and so he's tempted by fame, by fortune, and by pleasure, and they get the whole Pleasure Island thing. And so a lot of the classic elements are there. So if you've seen the original, the classic elements are there. But as we get to the end, here's the problem, okay? There are two main problems for the ending, right? Number one, the Monstro sequence does not stack up to the original. I'm sorry. I know it's CGI and it's probably very expensive and very good, but I did not think they did it well. Like, it didn't have the same sort of epicness that the original animation, hand-drawn animation had. And, my son and I have been talking about this, about how, man, we've lost something with quality and effort and just some of the elements of hand-drawn animation that it's got something special. There's something special about it. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's just not as epic as that original. And then the other issue is at the end, in the original Pinocchio, this is a little bit of a spoiler, so you can stop it now if you want, but in the original Pinocchio, the ending of the theme is that to be unselfish, right? He literally gives his life to save his father. He gives his life and kind of dies at the end. And so but then he's reborn as something new. And so that whole theme, and it's a universal theme, and it's a great theme, and it's very powerful, of death and rebirth, they do something different at the end. And some people might like what they did in the sense of it's kind of a newer idea, all that sort of stuff, but I just don't think it's more powerful than death, dying to help others, like dying to yourself. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, not that pleasure is bad, but like, he had to choose what's right in the face of all these other temptations, and that sometimes doesn't feel good, right? You kind of have to deal with that discipline and doing what's right, even when it doesn't feel good. And so the death and rebirth element is not there. It's just missing. And I think that really weakens the story. And that was one of my favorite elements of the original. So this has been my review of Pinocchio. So please subscribe, check out more of my channel, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and all of that stuff, author MB Mooney, and I would love to talk to you soon. So peace out.